Story 1, Nuts and Bolts. Every time I get a new item that needs assembly, I keep the leftovers, just in case. Now I have a ton of random, specific nuts and bolts with severely limited applications, and I just can't seem to throw them away. Story 2, Pinball Machines Over 100. I started with getting one that didn't work. I didn't know how to fix it, and once I learned, it was fun. I started collecting them. When they're broken, they're often cheap to acquire. Story 3, Salt and Pepper Shakers. I guess 7 pairs isn't ridiculous for some niche collector, but I am not. But where did they all come from? I have cows, sugar skulls, goats. I don't need to shake that much salt and pepper. Story 4, Crafting Supplies. I'm a serial crafter in that I like to get really into a crafting hobby for a period of time, which could be months, years, or sometimes just weeks, and then I move on to the next craft. I usually buy supplies for that hobby as though it will be a lifelong passion. I'm also an aspirational crafter. I'll see the potential in raw materials, which forces me to buy said raw materials, but then I get lazy, and the project never comes to fruition. In short, I have 2 separate hobbies: collecting crafting supplies and crafting. Story 5. My wife signed us up for an Amazon Household Essentials subscription and overestimated how often we bought cotton swabs. A box came every month until I pointed out that using our stock of 20,000 cotton swabs would take a while. Edit. Thanks for the awards. I was not expecting this to blow up. Story 6. Houseplants. It's hard to stop buying, trading, or just propagating and making more. First, wow, I didn't expect this to blow up. It's awesome to see so many other plant lovers. Second, I wanted to respond to all the trade plant comments with the subreddit, Take a Plant, Leave a Plant. I've also seen trades on the Nextdoor app and community groups. My local plant store also hosts plant swaps. So take a trimming of your plant, propagate it, show up, and see who wants to swap. Story 7, Rocks. I have a rock collection that includes precious stones, fossils, and other cool minerals. When I tell you my room shines purple because of all my amethyst clusters and points, I mean it. I'm working on uploading pictures. I will showcase my favorites and link them here when I can. I'm still having trouble with the pictures. Reddit will not load my recent pictures. It only shows pictures from 2 years ago, and Imager has the same problem. Story 8. I worked in a tea shop and was able to get an insane amount of loose leaf tea for free. I literally have a cupboard of nothing but different flavors of loose leaf teas. Hundreds of dollars worth of tea for my own drinking pleasure. I probably have close to 40 different flavors, all in their own happy little tins waiting for the day I think, yes, a pure green tea sounds perfect today. Edit. I never thought my love of tea would get me awarded. Thank you kindly. Edit 2. Thanks to everyone who is commenting, upvoting, and giving awards. I only had 1 award before today. I'm glad that if any of my comments had to become popular, it's the one about tea that is. Peace, love, and tea for all. Story 9. I won a lifetime supply of gourmet coffee beans in a contest. Several pounds arrive each month, faster than I can use them. Some get stored in the freezer, while other bags are given to friends who can use them. Story 10. Pennies. They are useless here in Canada, so I have nearly $1,000 in pennies. I collected them from banks when we stopped using them. I am hoping to make a penny floor with them once I find a house that I can see myself making into my forever home. Story 11. Dresses. I have over 100 dresses. All were purchased from thrift shops and all are donated back again after I wear them a few times. But still, it's a strange obsession. Story 12. Toilet paper. We moved during the pandemic, and everyone thought they would be clever and send us a pack as a housewarming gift. The first couple were helpful and appreciated, but the many others that followed were not. We haven't bought toilet paper since May, and we still have over 70 rolls left. We couldn't finish unpacking a few boxes because an entire closet is filled with toilet paper. Story 13. Pocket knives. My grandfather used to sell them at flea markets for a side hustle, and he used to give them to the grandkids as gifts. I've gone on to buy a few interesting ones for myself. I have about 70 mail magazines. I started collecting them in the 1980s. I have just about every issue published between 1970 and 1990, plus a bunch more on either side. Atari games. I already had a bunch when I was a kid. Then my older cousin gave me all his when he got into high school and stopped playing. I have about 80 no duplicates. Plus, I still have a working console. Old video games. I have a massive setup of DOS and Windows games from the early 1980s through the mid-1990s. I can play through DOSBox in a front end. Something like 600 or so at the last count. I have another setup of emulated arcade games from the same era using multiple arcade machine emulator. Again, several hundred that are actually playable. I have other collections as well, just not a ridiculous amount in each. Story 14. Fancy men's boxers. I used to work for Saks and always took home any samples or extra stock that was available. The rest of the staff stopped taking them when they had enough, but I kept loading up, knowing I wouldn't work there forever. 5 years later, I have a suitcase in my closet with about $2,000 worth of underwear. I'm planning on making it last for the rest of my life, or if I ever reach the point that I can afford to pay $30 for a pair of boxers. Story 15. Tabletop role-playing game books. I know someday I will find the perfect system for me. Oh, and I have to back that Kickstarter. And that book looks nice too. Edit. Gosh, my first award. Thanks a lot. I am honored. This feels like a level up. Story 16. Pens and markers. I'm really artistic, so it makes sense. I also have a lot of books, but that's beside the point. Edit. Thank you, kind stranger, for the award. Story 17. Squishmallows. Technically, they are my daughters, but I bought almost all of them. She has probably 30. We could get rid of her bed, and she could sleep on them. She loves all of them, and I would quit buying them, but they are so cute. Story 18. Dog toys. One of my dogs becomes obsessed with whatever new toy he gets and eventually destroys it. Rips it apart, tears out the squeaker, or just starts trying to eat it. Even the big indestructible ones that companies advertise, he finds a way to wreck them. So why don't I throw them away? Well, he's a Labrador mix and pretty much at all times he carries a toy with him. When I get home, he throws one at my feet. When I feed him, he brings one to his bowl. When we go to bed, he snatches one up and sleeps with it. And he seems to go through different moods. One day it's an old destroyed toy. The next it's a tennis ball. The next day it's one of his newer ones. Every few days I pick them all up and stuff them in a box, which he promptly tips over and sifts through to find whatever toy he wants to play with. Yes, it's annoying, but it's also adorable. Every time I'm about to throw one of them away, he starts playing with it again. So yeah, here I am with 50 or so toys, bones, and balls. Story 19. Graphic socks. Socks with graphics. Not violent socks. Laugh out loud. Kind of pointless since no one will see them, and I rarely go without shoes, but I have over 50 pairs. Anywhere from Friday the 13th to Stranger Things to Brett the Hitman Hart to the Misfits. Story 20. Shoes. I just love shoes. I wear a women's United States size 8, which is pretty common, so I can lend fancy pairs to friends who need them for a special occasion. I've given away many pairs to women who need them for part of a work uniform. I go through my collection once a year and donate the ones I never wore or don't care for anymore. Someone will love them, guaranteed. And while I do own high-quality shoes for work in Midwestern winter, most of them are just cheap, cute pairs I don't feel bad about only wearing once to go with an outfit or just because I need a shoe-related self-esteem boost. I own one purse, dress very plainly, and my awesome shoes are always the highlight of my outfit. Story 21. I used to own a lot of bouncy balls. I collected them as a kid. Anytime I saw a dispenser at a store or arcade, I would get a ball. My favorite was one shaped like a UFO or Saturn, and there was a really pretty green one. I loved to shake the box that the collection was in because it sounded like thunder. I think I still have a fraction of the collection, but I don't remember where I put it. Story 22. Here is an album of all 162 of them. I realize a few are sweatshirts, but they have such huge sentimental value that I consider them equal. My goal is to one day have enough that I can wear a different one each day of the year. Story 23. Collared shirts. I would estimate I have somewhere around 300 to 400. I have ones I wear to work, ones I wear to go out, ones I wear to golf in, ones that are fancy, and ones that aren't. It's a lot. I need to start getting rid of some. Story 24. Rocks. I am a geologist, so fieldwork always results in a few rocks being brought home. My dad has helped me move twice, and both times somehow ended up moving boxes of rocks. What's in here, rocks? Yeah, Dad, it's rocks. A meme in real life each time. Story 25 pens. I ordered 100 pens on Amazon, and they sent me 100 boxes of 50 pens. I now have 5,000 pens, and I hide boxes of 50 pens in random places like at school or at my friends' houses. Sometimes I tease them about a gift that I bought for them, and I say how it's very special for me to give them this gift and so on. But it's always pens. They hate me. Story 26. Cheap little toys and figurines, especially those you get out of capsule machines, win in arcades, have included with meals, attached to kids' magazines, appear in discount shops, or are just too cute. I can't stop picking them up. They bring me so much delight, whether it's a rubber shark with a leg sticking out of its mouth, a wind-up ghost, glow-in-the-dark dinosaurs, a small angry Godzilla, or those Star Wars action figures I picked up out of a 1-pound bin at a convention. So I now have Chancellor Valorum and Chancellor Palpatine having a Chancellor debate on my mantle. Story 27. Board and card games. At least to me, it's a ridiculous amount. Over 70 unique games. I have played almost all of them, but some came from my wife and take more than 2 people to play, so we haven't gotten to those yet. Story 28. Globes. I find them in the antique store and I buy them simply because they are from different years. And when they are from different years, the content on the globe is different. I'm a history geek, I guess. Story 29. Non-working technology. Old computer towers, cords, broken game systems, etc. I know I should get rid of them because fixing most is beyond my ability, but the first piece of technology one got was a Nokia phone in 2008, not counting the family television or microwave. Some people understand what having a Nokia brick in 2008 means. Anyway, I have a slight obsession with technology and like to hold on to whatever I can get my hands on. Story 30. Magic: The Gathering cards. About 25,000 because I have been playing with family and best friends for 23 years now. I am still collecting more too, but my closet is getting full. Story 31. Unpainted miniatures and books I have yet to read. I love to paint, and I love to read, but I definitely bite off more than I can chew every time I enter a shop that feeds my hobbies. Story 32. Comfy fleece blankets, or as my husband and I refer to them as comfy blankets. My mom buys us each a fleece blanket every year and has for as long as I can remember. We take good care of them, so I've probably got at least a dozen. Story 33. Dresses and gowns. I have well over 100 different dresses, all different sizes, colors, shapes, and styles. Most I haven't worn or will never wear. I just like them because they're pretty. Wine, while my 100 bottles isn't a lot compared to people in the wine community, I'm happy with my little hoard. Story 34. Video games. I have kept almost every game and accessory I have ever gotten, going back to the first grade. I have every Nintendo system with working controllers and cartridges. Manuals and boxes are hit and miss until the age of discs. I even have a Virtual Boy in storage. I got into arcade cabinets when time permitted. Now I just have a Donkey Kong squirreled away. I love working on them and cleaning them up into good working condition, and I love learning about the crazy history of gaming. I still get the modern stuff and love it, but there is something magical to me about the 1980s to 1990s era of gaming. I'm getting older, so I have much less time to actually play, but I'm looking forward to the day my kid tries to trash talk gaming with me and I throw down Mega Man 2 and take their smartphone. See if you can beat that game when frequent crashes were basically part of the challenge, on top of a game that actively resents you for playing. I don't actually get to talk about this often, so I'm excited to share. Story 35. Handbags. I am at 160. Well, I had 160 at the last count. I stopped counting. I've been asked why I collect them many times. I am a plus-sized person and I love fashion. However, there isn't a lot of fashion in my size. I gravitated to handbags, purses, wallets, and luggage because their size doesn't matter. It started with me wanting to get very expensive bags at very low prices. I scoured secondhand shops and yard sales. Then eBay started. Yes, I am that old. And I totally got taken by a fake Kate Spade and was so angry. I stopped buying bags on eBay. I now collect a very rare bag. They make sometimes 150 of a certain style and color so that I know I am getting the real thing as I buy directly now. I do have some antique ones that I love. I have some that are very dear to people who had no one else to give to. I am like the homeless shelter for rescue purses. Story 36. Jackets and hoodies, about 30 hanging on the back of my living room door. Had to use 9-inch screws because the sheer weight kept pulling the door off the frame. Story 37. Right now, weed. I grew a bunch over the summer and don't have anything to do with it but smoke and give away. Made edibles, tincture, infused oil. I still got a couple of pounds.